Thank you so very much, Mr. Speaker. Manzoor Bhai, really pleasure to be here. We have been very touched by the warm hospitality extended by the government and people of Guyana at such a busy time for you. Your 59th Independence Day is today. I must say that if you had come to India, you might not find it so convenient to receive a foreign delegation on Independence Day. So we are really touched and honored by the warmth of your welcome at this difficult and busy time. As you know, Mr. Speaker, we are proud to be associated with the celebrations of your freedom, and I was very struck when the President in his speech spoke about the importance of resisting certain kinds of assaults without fear and with determination. That's very much the spirit in which we too have come, because our country had to face an evil and tragic assault on innocent citizens enjoying a tourist holiday in our northern territory of Jammu and Kashmir. And this was not a one-off incident, but in many ways built upon a series, decades of this kind of thing being done, of which the most notorious was the assault in 2008, which was our 9/11, as we call it 26/11, 26 November 2008, when in Mumbai, in 5 locations, 170 people were mercilessly gunned down. And from then onwards, we have attempted to persuade the world that not only must we issue condolences and sympathies when people lose their lives, for which we're very grateful, but we must also take resolute action, not just against the perpetrators themselves. Very often these perpetrators, in the case of Mumbai, all but one, were gunned down in the course of their evil actions. So not only against the perpetrators, we must bring to justice always, but also against those who finance, sponsor, guide, arm, equip, train, and direct them to come and do this kind of awful act. And for us, therefore, we have come on this mission to seek your understanding, to address any questions or misgivings you may have, and to request that particularly now, in your own political opinion and with the important role that Guyana is playing in the United Nations Security Council, that we hope that we can count on your understanding and sympathy in solidarity with those who, as your President said, are determined to stand up without fear and with determination. Our nation has made it very clear in recent weeks that we have had enough, that they will no longer be permitted to cross a border, kill our innocent people, and walk back with impunity. That is not going to be happening anymore. As far as we are concerned, we are also not going to give in to their evil designs, which include trying to disturb the peace, tranquility, and economy of Jammu and Kashmir, where tourism was a very major mainstay, and that is at the moment the first target, the first victim, apart from the human lives lost. Second, there was clearly an attempt through religious profiling to create a backlash within the rest of India against one particular community. I'm proud to say India did not fall victim to that and stayed united and rose as one. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from the north to the south, the east to the west, we have stayed united and determined and resolute against the horrors of terrorism. Their third attempt, very clearly, was to somehow bring international attention to their so-called grievances, which are in fact the illegitimate desires of a neighboring country to claim territory that they don't control. And let me say that this is a problem that need not exist. Many, many attempts have been made over many decades to settle this issue, because we frankly want to get on. We want to get on with our development, Mr. Speaker. We have had a challenge. Till 10, 15 years ago, there were more than a couple of 100 million people living below the poverty line. We want to bring them into decent standards of life and hope. We want to grow our economy, which for some years now has been the fastest growing free market democracy in the world. We have also got a strong technological base, which really makes us focus on the 21st century and the future, rather than being buried in the unresolved grievances of the past. But having said that, we would not have wanted this issue to come and inflict itself upon us, but now that it has done so, we have responded vigorously. And I say to you, Mr. Speaker, our thinking very simply is this: if our neighbours will leave us alone to focus on our development, to focus on our future, we will be very happy to leave them alone. We have absolutely no designs. In fact, we are what is classically called a status quo power. We'll be happy to continue with the geopolitical status quo. Unfortunately, our neighbour doesn't share that assumption. Our neighbour is a revisionist power. They want something they don't have. And if they can't claim it through conventional war, they are willing to use what's called subconventional means, namely deploying terrorist militants, infiltrating them across the border, and frankly making victims of people who are not expecting to fight or be caught up in a fight, who are literally just gone for a tourist vacation. This needed a response. Our government gave such a response, but it did so in a very calibrated, measured, precise manner. It wasn't interested in saying we're going to war with the whole country. We are simply going to assault specific sites that have been known and identified as belonging to, housing, basing organizations that are listed by the United Nations Sanctions Committee and organizations which are on the wanted terrorist lists of the US government as well. And we hit them hard, but we were very careful to do so at night when there were no civilians likely to be about, to minimize collateral damage. Very careful to avoid any government sites, any military sites, any civilian locations. Nonetheless, Pakistan chose to respond initially with indiscriminate artillery shelling, which killed 19 civilians on our side of the border, including people in a Gurudwara, a Sikh temple, and in a Christian convent, a Carmel convent. And then, sadly, they added to this a battery of drones and missiles targeting everything from civilian airports to homes, to vehicles, to airfields, and so on. I'm proud to say that our air defenses proved more than equal to the task. Minimal damage was done. We also responded in kind to the artillery shelling, and we also responded with strikes across the border in response to their attacks on us. So the message again was clear. If you attack, we will respond. If you will hold your fire, we will hold our fire, because we are not seeing our actions as the first salvo in a protracted war. This message was finally understood after 88 hours of fighting, and the Pakistani Director General of Military Operations, called his Indian counterpart, asked for a cessation of firing, to which we agreed with alacrity because we didn't want to prolong the conflict anyway, and that's where we are. Having said that, the hunt for these killers, 4 of whom have been identified by name and photograph, continues. The armed forces are prepared to respond in case of any future misadventure from across the border. And the Prime Minister has declared that any act of terror, and I don't think he meant any small act of terror, but any serious act of terror, will be responded to as an act of war. So these are the messages that our government has given to its neighbour, and which we are conveying to the world at large. If you have questions or concerns, we're very happy to address them. But I do want to say, Mr. Speaker, that your welcome and your warmth of your reception has itself been deeply heartwarming and gratifying for all of us. We feel at home here in Guyana, and we were privileged to be part of your Independence Day celebrations. And we hope that just as you are determined to keep your country free and safe, so are we, and we look forward to your understanding and support in that endeavour in these trying times. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.